Hi, everyone. Welcome to Cool Women Central. I'm your host, Sophia, and I'm joined by my mom, Allison. We're talking everything pop culture from a Gen Z and Gen X perspective. So, thank you for tuning in today. Hopping straight into it, the Oscars were March 15th recently, they were
Yep.
at the Dolby Theater and they were hosted by Cohen O'Brien. So I don't know if you watched, but he did his first one last year, and this was the second time. And I just thought he was really funny.
Yes, I did watch it. Yeah, he is generally funny. But I used to watch his show a long time ago too. So
So you're familiar.
I am familiar with his particular style of humor.
Well, along with, the fantastic show that went on was the fashion. There was a lot that was on the carpet this year, I can say. I think there was a lot of, feathers, shimmer, a lot of blue, green. The men, I think, is always interesting because they have the option to just like go super basic and do a suit. But there were a lot of like brooches everywhere.
Yeah,
So I think that
yeah.
was interesting.
What was that about,
I
right?
don't know because like I understand there were a lot of brooches from like the activism perspective of like people wearing
Yes.
different like, keep keep all this bad out. From every perspective, there were a lot. I saw a lot of different activism pins on the red carpet, but I think in particular, seeing some of the like silver and gold brooches that were at it were really interesting. To touch on some of the attendees, Timothee Chalamet, who was wearing an all white Givenchy suit. It was double breasted. I thought it was a interesting look. I thought it fit the Oscar vibe, like for his movie. You know what I mean?
Okay.
To kind of maybe round out some of the PR. And a lot of people, some people said he was, looked T, and some people put him on the worst dress list. So he was also joined
Okay.
by his boo thing, Miss Kylie Jenner.
Do I get to put him on a list?
Yeah, go for it. I was gonna ask, what are your thoughts? What are your
So
thoughts?
he would have been on the nay list for me. Two things
Yeah.
that did it for me. Okay, first, I get it. He brought a vibe with the suit.
I I will say I don't love, like, I kind of wish it fit him. Like I don't love that it puddles at the feet, and then I don't
That
know with these
that that
like
my
these
gosh.
like army style all white monochromatic like
You and I are like right there, girl. I mean, it was the puddling of the pants at the bottom. I'm like, I'm sorry, get a tailor,
and and
make those fit.
I hate sunglasses inside. So why are you, I don't know if the are the Oscars like red carpet outside? I don't know.
I
It
think
is
it
outside?
is. I think so. I
Okay.
think it starts outside,
Okay,
but
well then I can't say that he was inside, but I just don't really know if I love the vibe of the sunglasses. I don't know how you feel, but
the sunglasses, I could go either way, but I was too distracted by everything that was happening down at the bottom. You know,
right.
the puddling meeting those like cartoon shoes.
They look like cartoon shoes. Yeah, I don't know. They look like cartoon shoes, just the way that they look like, I don't know. I remember in like 2016 looking at a pair of like all white Doc Martens that look exactly like that. They look like cartoon. You look like you're gonna hop into a video game. And I also got like I wish him and Kylie Jenner would walk the carpet. Like I guess I get it's his moment, but I feel like you see a lot of the celebrities walk with their partners, so I kind of wish they would have walked.
Hmm. Okay.
So I don't know. I didn't love the all white, but like I feel like for him, like I don't know, the all white, it just made sense, I guess. Um,
Hmm.
Next on the list, Michael B. Jordan wearing an
Yes.
all sleek black Louis Vuitton suit. I thought it was interesting. He had like a little chain across. I don't know if you saw
Yeah,
the
I
pictures of
think
him.
his vibe totally worked for me.
Right,
And like you were saying with Timothy about the white suit, did that match like his vibe of the movie?
right.
Michael
I
B.
mean, I
Jordan's
guess.
suit definitely helped match, I think, the vibe and energy of the movie that he was there for.
I mean, I thought Marty Supreme was a little bit goofy, and I thought that Timothy Chalamet looked a little bit goofy. So I thought that that worked. I think that Michael B. Jordan is, I love also that he showed up in all black and Timothy showed up in all white. That was like a yin and yang moment there.
Yes, absolutely.
I was like, there's like some smoke and stack energy in this almost, just with the color combos. So, but I really liked his look. I think it was really clean. I liked I think the chain made it a little bit different. I think
Hmm.
men have it a little bit harder with the fashion sometimes when it comes to what they can get creative with. Sometimes it's doing too much, but I think this was just like perfectly right down the center. So I think he looked great. Another person who was on the carpet and at the Oscars was Demi Moore. So her big year was last year because she was the star in that really scary movie, The Substance. I don't know if you
Yes.
saw that. I tried to watch it and it was a little bit too much for me, a little bit frightening. But she was wearing a Gucci by Denma gown. Kind of looked like a bird. I thought it was really pretty. I saw a lot of people online speaking really negatively about her body, so I don't know what that's about, but people need to stop because there's a lot too much to be doing all that. But I thought she looked really good. I think she always looks really good. Last year she looked good. She looked awesome while presenting. But yeah, no, I think she was so T. And then I don't know if you saw Teyana Taylor. She was wearing custom Chanel. Okay. And a lot of people were saying that she was the best dressed of the night. I mean, I loved her dress personally.
That one, I don't recall her dress, unfortunately. So,
She was, it's like I said, it's custom Chanel. It's like a black and white fringe
hmm.
all the way down. It's just
Okay.
for her, it's like her body is so like she is so toned. So like you can put her, I feel like, into anything and she'll look good. It's like
Hmm.
Zendaya. You can put her in anything and she'll look good. So that was kind of one of my standouts. And then of course, none other than Misty Copeland was there. And I thought she looked pretty good. She was wearing a tutu inspired David Como blazer with a white column skirt and a 27 carat diamond ring from Jared
Yeah.
Artillier.
So I really loved her look
Hmm.
because I just, again, you want to talk about bringing a vibe, right?
Right.
But that was definitely her making a statement, and so I loved it. Loved
No,
everything
I
about it.
I definitely a different silhouette, but she pulls it off entirely. I think the ring really brings it together. And I love her makeup too. She looks really fresh. So,
I just going back to Demi,
hmm
in her fashion choices and everything. I just have to shout out that she is still using Brad Goreski for her stylist.
hmm
So he's still bringing it for her.
I mean, and she looks fantastic. I mean, I know Demna is a little bit controversial from after leaving or with the whole Balenciaga situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, this dress, I'm just looking at her right now. Like, I just feel like it complements her so well because she literally looks like a bird. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
her, like, super long hair, it almost matches the tail ends of the feathers.
Yes.
I mean,
Hmm.
like, she just looks so put together. Some other honorable, mentions for me. I mean, Nicole Kidman, she was in her divorce
Yes.
glow. She looked really
Yes.
good. She
She
looked
did. She did. I don't know what she does, but I mean,
She
that
was
woman she does not age.
no, 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 no. She was wearing a Chanel by Matthew Blazy. So, but she just the dress, but like she just looked good. Like her skin is glowing. So, well, yeah, uh, the Oscars are always interesting. I love seeing for me, I love to think about these celebrities in these big dresses like sitting down in a lot of these big gowns.
Yes. Yes.
Like, I don't know. I think like Nicole Kidman, hers, I feel like it's probably a little easier. It's just kind of more of a like a quick sit up, sit down situation. But some of like the bigger gowns, Demi Moore's dress, I don't know, it could, this looks like very feathered. This looks like you have
Right.
to,
I imagine like sitting there and like a feather poking me or something, you know?
right. Like I feel it looks very structured too. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So I feel like the men have it easier in that regard. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
another one I really wanted to love Gwyneth Paltrow's dress, but it just doesn't quite do it for me. I thought she looked good, but I don't know if you saw what dress she was wearing. It was a little bit
I,
too
yeah, no, I
too big,
missed her.
too big, but she looked really good. I don't know. She was in Marty Supreme, so probably one of my favorite areas of that movie. Speaking of, fashion in movies though, I think
Hmm.
after watching the Oscars, the biggest takeaway I definitely did not see every movie that was nominated for an Oscar, but I
Hmm.
saw a good amount, and one of them being Frankenstein, directed by Guillermo del Toro. Fantastic. It was awesome. It had Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth, Oscar Isaac. Like it was just really awesome. That movie actually, took a few I mean, Sinners like took away like everything. Sinners in one battle after another. If you haven't seen them, both very awesome movies. But Frankenstein took home best costume design by Kate Hawley, which if you have not seen the movie, I would highly recommend. If for anything, just like you have to see the costumes. They are beautiful.
It's one of those art movies,
Yes, yes, it's very like the movie itself was very
cinema.
cinema, yes. It's one of those movies that I feel like I'm watching and I'm looking at every little detail. I'm looking at, the coloring. It was very interesting for Mia Goth's character. Her character was very in Victoria. She was very into bugs and things like that. So like in one scene she's playing with or looking and observing and playing with these little beetles, right? And she's
Hmm.
wearing a dress that almost looks like malachite, like the green malachite,
Yes,
and it kind of looks like a beetle in a way. Like I feel like there's just so many different interpretations, and like even with the wedding dress that she wears, and the actual costume design for the men themselves, for Victor and for Frankenstein. So I just thought it was really awesome. They also took home best makeup and hairstyling, and so that went to Mike Hill, Jordan Samuel, and Salonia Furry. You couldn't even recognize Jacob Elordi. And like that's a recognizable person. He's a very tall person. Very recognizable person. So the makeup and seeing stuff behind the scenes of him just sitting in the chair while they're, adding all these different little lines of because, they had to do his entire body.
right. Yes.
So
I wonder what the time and chair was on that, right?
I feel like I saw it somewhere, but oh man, it's just so. I'm sure it was like a while at least because my goodness, honestly, just impressive. Just the way that he is just completely transformed. With that being said, they also had Best Production Design by Tamara DeVrel and Shane Vio, which, if you've seen the movie, I'm sure you can attest to this as well. It is just, as my mom said earlier, it is just one of those things that it is cinema. You just watch it to see what's going on. And even if you don't love the story of Frankenstein, I would just recommend watching it just because it's one of those ones to watch. You have to watch it.
There's an article that's out, and it mentions and it says there's a bit of a rock and roll vibe to Victor Frankenstein in there with all of his eccentric hats and the colorful robes and everything. And they asked if rock stars were an inspiration for his character. And the answer to that was yes. So the says the lecture scene is almost David Bowie. So
Yeah, well, I think that's what's so interesting. Like Guillermo del Toro, the director of this movie, he is from my knowledge, he is Mexican, so there's a lot of influence there with a lot of his stuff, especially with like some of these horror movies. But so I think it's so interesting, when they take inspiration in that way. It's like, oh, because I totally see that now where it's like there was a little bit of rock star element because I mean in the movie he has these like little red like kind of driving gloves that he wears. He's got the hats,
mhm.
he's just the actual styling of the clothes too is just very rock star-esque. I was like, there's some inspo here now that I think about it, and it definitely helps bring out the character of Victor in that way of he stands out from, his family, and, in building this creature and bringing that story of Frankenstein to life. I think for me, when referencing Frankenstein now, this will be the movie that I think about to recommend to people just because it was that good. But, speaking about the movie, so Best Picture went to One Battle After Another by Paul Thomas Anderson. It was 6 Oscars total, including Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay. And it was PTA's first ever Oscar win after a 30-year career. So that was really, I saw that movie, really awesome. Did you see that movie?
I did not see that movie, no. So I can't really speak to anything about that movie. I've seen
You
a lot of trailers and a lot of clips.
you have to watch it. It was really, it was a phenomenal performance by Leo and Teyana Taylor, and it was just, I don't know. I wish I could watch that movie for the first time again. It was so good. And then Best Actor obviously went to Michael B. Jordan. I was rooting for him so hard. He was in Sinners. He played Smoke and Stack. It was twin brothers. So I actually went and saw this movie and did not realize that it was the same person until 2 weeks after, when I was like trying to find, like, I always go and I look up like who's in the movie after I see the movie because I'm like, what else are you in? I'm like, have I seen you in other places? And that movie, I think like 2 weeks after the fact, I was like trying to find. I was like, man, who played Smoke? Like, I was like, why is it only Michael B. Jordan listed? And then it dawned on me, and I was like, oh my gosh, he played both. So right then and there, I knew. I was like, he has to win an Oscar for this because to play two people, and maybe that was just like not my biggest brain moment, but like, genuinely, like when he's like, I don't know, there were so many moments to that movie, but after he won, he went to In and Out and did the whole classic Hollywood star, you know, signing autographs with his trophy and eating his burger, which I think is super, super cool. But I have to know what you thought because I know you did watch Sinners.
Yes, I did watch Sinners, and it's one of I've only seen it once, so I really know that I need to see it again to pick up on other, subtleties throughout the movie. But yeah, I think it was again, it was super interesting. He absolutely deserved to win. I think the funny thing to me about Sinners was the number of people who have said, well, I had to watch it with captions to understand what people were saying. And
Right.
I've seen like a number of people talk about that, which is so funny because I'm so tuned into the Southern dialect and everything. So that's my funny side note from that.
I love the Southern Gothic vampire aspect of it. It was super good
Yes.
mixed in with some of the voodoo stuff. I thought it was definitely probably, I think, my favorite movie of the year that I saw.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Best Actress went to Jessie Buckley, which I know you did not see. Hamnet, super good. Very one of those movies that was so good and so moving that you watch it once and you are never going to watch it again because it is absolutely just emotionally devastating.
Which is why I have not watched it yet because
Well,
I
you
haven't
should.
been in the right frame of mind for that.
I was just saying, I guess I wasn't prepared for that, so I just like had just decided I was going to do that one afternoon, and it completely ruined my day. I think it actually ruined the rest of my week. But Jesse Buckley and like Paul Mescal's really good. The little kids that are in the movie are super good. Everybody in the movie is fantastic, but Jessie Buckley in the movie is just like so good. And what I love about her is I don't believe she just has like a very natural, like you can tell she doesn't have any like Botox or anything in her face. So like she very much works well in one of these like, period pieces in a way. So she was, excellent, great. It's the whole theater drama
Right.
aspect of it. So definitely recommend watching it if you want to ruin the rest of your day. Speaking of movies, though, I did go and see some movies this weekend. So I went to see two movies. I did a double feature day. I'm an AMC A-lister. I love the movies. So it's always fun, like going in and out of the movies, like with my tickets, because I'll like walk out of the theater and like walk back in, like and scan it, and the worker's like, "You're back." And I'm so blessed to live so close to so many theaters, so I have so many options. But this weekend, I went to go see the drama starring Robert Pattinson and Zendaya, and I saw Project Hail Mary starring Ryan Gosling. So here's what I have to say. Both movies were very interesting. When deciding what order I was going to do them in, because I didn't know very much about either movie. I saw the trailers for both. I hadn't really remembered what the Project Hail Mary one was like too much, but I was like super tuned in for the drama because I love Robert Pattinson from our Twilight days. Hello. And Zendaya because like I just love Zendaya. She's awesome. Like I think she's so cool. Anyways, tuned in, tapped in. So when deciding movie, whether you do one or the other first, it's a very particular science. For me, I think it got down to the time. So the drama was an hour and 46 minutes, I think, and then
Hmm.
Project Hail Mary was 2 hours and 46 minutes. Big difference there. But I could tell from what I've heard since the drama had come out, from the time that it had come out to me seeing it, that the drama might be a little bit more deranged than I thought. So I went to go see that first, is what I decided. And I'm glad I did. It was very good. It was a very good movie, but it was one of those really good movies, like I said, with Hamnet, that is so good that you can only watch it once because it invokes so much emotion in you.
Hmm. Okay.
So I don't know if I would see that one again, but I mean, all the acting, just the people who, their goal was to make you hate them in the movie, they made you hate them. Like it was crazy. And then following that, I had like a 15-minute break in between my movies. I did Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling. I loved this movie. This was just like phenomenal. If I had to recommend anyone a movie to see that's in theaters right now, it would probably be that one. It was so good that I went and I bought the book by Andy Weir. So I will be reading that very soon. So stay
Okay.
tuned for a book review, I guess. I feel like
Hmm.
something has to be pretty good for it to inspire me to read about it. So I'm
Okay.
so excited about that. But,
Yeah, it's on my list. It's definitely on my list to see for
I think
sure.
you would enjoy that one the most out of those two.
Okay, well, great. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well,
So really quickly wanted to circle back to the Oscars just for a minute because I just don't want to ignore the entire
the elephant in the room.
right, the Timothy Chalamet, incident that just took over social media leading up to the Oscars. So I definitely feel like that tainted his chances. Um, for really pulling off a win. And I'm saying that having not seen that movie, but I I guess I love the appropriate response to that from the theater and the ballet world with their, coming out of offering discounts and things like that. So I enjoyed that, but I mostly enjoyed the fact that Misty Copeland decided that she was going to attend those Oscars and be on stage. So that was
Well,
that.
I did read that that was planned before
Oh,
all
it
this,
was
and then
okay,
it ended up being a coincidence. But I just think it's funny how the universe works like that.
right? But that's what I'm saying. It's like exactly the universe for sure definitely came through on that. But yeah.
No, I mean, I thought, first of all, I mean, I thought his comment was very tasteless. So, and, Matthew McConaughey was looking at him like, I don't know if you should say that. So it was seeing the immediate backlash from everybody was interesting, especially with all of this coming up, with the Oscars and everything. So to even have the coincidence that Misty Copeland would be performing with the lied to you at the
Hmm.
Oscars, crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't orchestrate drama messier.
No, absolutely not. So, moving from the movies and all of that type of drama, we can talk about, drama on the court. How about March Madness wrapping up? I know your love of women's sports, so I know you've been watching all of this really closely.
Yeah, so, obviously March Madness is coming to a close, but after my movie marathon, I was running home so I could tune in for the South Carolina versus UCLA game. UCLA ended up whooping South Carolina
Yeah.
79 to 51. It was insane. This is UCLA's first ever NCAA Women's Championship title. Technically, they had the AIAW championship in 1978, but it happened the year before the NCAA recognized women's basketball. So I guess, yeah, so it is their first time. But a lot of sentiment there. But it was just really awesome to see them win. And, some of their star players like Lauren Betts and Kiki Rice, they're expected to be top five in the WNBA draft. So seeing them go out there and really play that way was really interesting. And if you were tuned in for the live stream, you saw that Alona Mayer, who is a USA women's rugby player, was commentating on the game. And I think she made a really interesting point about, like, how to really tie this into fashion and beauty. What makes women's sports so interesting is that, women are able to express themselves more with, their hair or their makeup.
Yep.
So it was really awesome seeing the girls on the court. And for me, I'm always looking at what people are wearing and doing. So of course, I'm looking at the different hairstyles and, some of them have full beat makeup on, things like that.
Right.
So
Right.
it's
Or the nails.
or the nail, yeah. So it's so interesting to see, their individual styles expressed in that way, and I love it because I'm just always like, gosh, I think it was Kiki Rice who had the like craziest slick back hair while she was playing, and I was like, girl, I don't know what your routine is, but like you need to drop it in your Instagram, TikTok. It was good, but I just think that's what makes women's sports so individual, and yeah, I think basketball is unique too because like you know it's not like bad example, I guess, but whenever I ran cross country, it was like I couldn't wear makeup because I was literally gonna die if I wore makeup. Like it would just not be on by the time that I was finished. But I think with, basketball, you are sweating and doing so much work and everything like that. But like I feel like you're also inside, so you might be able to setting spray it all on really good.
Well, I think the other thing too with or at least we're seeing this certainly in college sports, the coaches. I mean, we have some coaches, right, who are known and who are discussed and who are talked about for their
Right,
fashion as well. And of course, Dawn Staley, she was out there on the court wearing Balenciaga.
right.
And there was a lot of discussion about that. I mean, like Yahoo Sports had to write about it, like, who is this designer and all of these things. So that's always interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, I always think it's so interesting looking at the courtside fashion because, some coaches are a little bit more casual in their approach of, I'm gonna wear my zip up and my slacks or whatnot, but then you
Right.
have coaches like Dawn and, him for
Yes, Kim Mulkey, yes.
LSU women's basketball who, it's just like it is an event. I need to be themed. I need to have an outfit, which, I can totally respect as somebody that was raised by someone that we needed to buy a new outfit for every event.
What
That's you.
all right.
So
Yeah.
no, sometimes I'm like when I'm picking something out, even if it's to say watch a basketball game at somewhere, I'm like, do I need a new outfit for this? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, where did I get this from?
Well, okay, but to be fair, that's a lot of growing up, on the stage, right?
Right. I know. I've had to stop though. I've had to get myself like, you can rewear things.
Oh, that's what
But
happens when you're a theater kid. you know?
Oh, yeah, but no, but I mean, I guess this segues into our next topic pretty well, which is fabric composition. Now that, I do try to rewear things a lot, I'm looking at, what am I paying for? What am I getting at here?
Yeah. Well, I know I sent you down that rabbit hole about the fabric because I started getting served these ads in my social media feed. Very funny from John Varvatos and the new capsule collection to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Tom Petty. And I don't shop for men's fashions. Maybe I got picked up in that feed because I was looking at old rock and roll. I don't
It's your
know.
Eagles stuff. It's your
That's what I'm
Eagles stuff.
saying, right?
They
From
flagged you.
going to the concert. So I thought that was very funny. So it sent me down that rabbit hole because, you know, that particular line has always had this rock and roll vibe, which continuing on the rock and roll vibe that we were talking about with Frankenstein, right?
Right.
So they have released this line, and I of course sent it to you saying, okay, look at these cool things. And then you started looking at the prices and then started looking at the fabric composition to equate that to that price, which, by the way, side note, which may factor into this whole fabric composition issue that's happening in fashion. That company, of course, is also now owned by private equity.
Right.
No longer an original founder, owner, designer in there at the helm. And, private equity is always looking to cut corners.
Well, I mean, you can certainly see that for, just looking at the collection. There are some pieces here where it's like, okay, yes, this is, 100%, bull hide or whatever. But like, I'm looking at this white shirt, which, this line I will say is very frank. Like, I feel like if Victor Frankenstein saw this, he would probably buy it with, he'd be rich enough to buy it. Uh,
Yes, there you go. Yes.
so, but like looking at this white shirt, very Victor Frankenstein. Anyways, this white shirt is $498 and it is 100% polyester. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, that shirt looks a little bit itchy. So, with polyester, it's in so much nowadays, so it's like kind of hard to avoid it when it comes to like cheaper things. But like this isn't a cheap thing, is my thing. This is something that is
Right.
$498. And I can tell you right now that I have seen this shirt on Zara's website and it is made out of exactly the same material.
Yeah.
So
I
I
get
don't
it.
know how you're feeling about it. There's some things on here that are suede, so it's going to be animal hide, but I feel like I see things that are animal hide on Ralph Lauren and they're not even that expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I know for sure, absolutely. So I definitely appreciate the deep dive into some of those fabrics, which is, yeah, truly interesting. I know that you're always like, hey, does the story justify the price?
Well, yeah, does it, if I'm buying something and say it's $200, but it's
I
whatever the piece is, it's 100% of whatever, that's not going to be a plastic. So it kind of, it puts you into the conversation, especially like for me, it goes into a greater realm of sustainability, though, I don't want to,
right.
you buy it nice or you buy it twice because, if I'm buying a pair of get a pair of jeans, for example. If buy a pair of nice jeans that I know are 100% cotton, they're made well, they're going to last me a while versus a pair of jeans that might be 50% cotton and then the rest is, elastic or the lycra stuff or whatever. Like that's a big difference, between something sitting in a landfill and me having the same pair of jeans 10 years down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I sure yeah, get that for sure. Yeah.
But that brings us to, the sustainability aspect with like Max Alexander, as we, talked about him in episode one. the 10-year-old designer with
Right.
his recent show.
Yep. I mean, his whole design point of view, at least in that show, was dead stock and recycled materials. So that was really interesting. And since that time, I've seen TikToks and videos of his process of him making that dress out of the
Hmm.
28 Free People shopping bags that he had on the Paris runway. So that absolutely amazing. Um, as you've noted, we've got like a 10-year-old, right, who's asking, what is this material worth? What can I do with it?
I
When
Yeah,
we
I know. Like
Yeah.
just seeing him, work with it versus it's like, oh, okay, this kid is taking 28, as you said, 28 Free People bags, and you're seeing him wash them and sew them together. And, I think on one of the videos he commented like, oh, the ruffles are made out of the handles or something. I'm like, who
Mm,
thinks about this?
right, yes.
So,
It gives me a little bit of hope, right? There's some hope core there, right?
right, like, I'm like, okay, who thinks about this? But also it's like,
Mm,
okay, well, if this 10-year-old is saying, okay, well, this is what I can do with these bags that are already made, and then you've got John out here making $400, $500 polyester shirts. I'm just saying, Max is coming for your job, John.
yeah, a lot to think about, for sure.
I mean, truly.
And the thing, I think the point of that is that I see people are thinking about that, though. I
Hmm.
certainly see a lot of videos now, and I really cannot recall the content creator, but there is somebody who does a lot of like shopping and will go through like a Nordstrom and a typical department and stop and look at a piece of clothing, the price tag, and then the content label on the fabric
Hmm.
and point that out. I think just being more conscious and aware of things like that is certainly worth noting.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been seeing even like a lot of like you said, nobody that I can particularly name off the top of my head, but a lot of content creators posting, like yoga teachers in particular, posting how they're trying to go anti-polyester, especially with like a lot of their
Yeah.
workout gear. So they're wearing cotton, and people are like, "Oh, well, cotton I can see on my sweat or whatever." But it's like, okay, well. So I think it's interesting. You cannot say, I will work out, and I have too much Lululemon to not wear it at this point. So at some point when it all
Yeah.
gives out one day, I will go full cotton as well. But for right now, I do too. I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we are kind of reaching the end of our time here.
Yeah, I think we're out of time, but luckily for you guys, you can find us at Cool Woman Central on TikTok and Instagram. Feel free to message us about, any other topics you want us to discuss or hear about, anything new you'd like to see, or feel free to drop us an email at coolwomancentral@gmail.com. Stay cool and stay inspired, and don't forget to check out the links or anything that we have in our bio, because we're always dropping anything that we talked about today that has a link to it will be in our bio. But yeah, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.